there, and welcome to this week's media news with me, Gareth. I'm going to kick things off with an interesting stat for you. In 2020, more people will be engaging with augmented reality media than with newspapers. Believe it or not, but it is true, say the statisticians. 1 billion people around the world will be engaging with augmented reality media. Of course, this will all be for mobile devices, versus 450 million people who currently read newspapers. There's a new consumer among us. Yes, indeed there is. The smartphone attic. Yep. Apparently 1 in 4, or a quarter of all smartphone owners, are one. So if you were to put that into context of the New Zealand marketplace, that's around 345,000 Kiwis are a smartphone attic. I can almost believe that. This is research that came from America, but of course you can put it into a Kiwi context. But smartphone attics, of course, they changed the way they shop, they've changed the way they bank, and they've changed the way they pay for things. And they only need to look really here in the NZ marketplace. Of course, you know, more and more shops are opening up mobile-specific sites. Banks, of course, have now got apps, and every one of them have a different way to pay for things using your mobile telephone, be it text, be it touching them off one another. So, yep, big things. And around 80% obviously are now using mobile banking, and 70% are now using mobile payments. So if you think that's a pretty big marketplace in the New Zealand space too. Nearly 60% of smartphone owners don't go an hour without checking their phone. I'm probably one of them. 54% check their phone while in bed, before they go to sleep, after they wake up, or in the middle of the night. And amazingly, 1 in 5 checks it immediately after sex, which I find decidedly odd. But there you go. Nearly 40% check their phones whilst on the toilet. Some 30% check their phones during a meal with others, while 9% check their phones during religious services. 17% of Americans now mostly go online from their mobile. I have said it many times and I'll say it again, if you do not have a mobile strategy, you do not have a strategy. Seriously, you need to start thinking about mobile. Many opportunities available, some are very easy to take up, but really you need to start thinking about it. And new from Google. Google, yes, are getting into the tablet space. They're launching a Nexus, and this will be running their Jelly Bean, which is the next operating system on from Ice Cream Sandwich. They're also, you may remember a while ago, Project Glass. It's becoming reality. If you've not seen this, do go on and Google Project Glass and you will see this. But it's becoming reality in 2013, which is very cool. Another thing they're obviously doing is streaming media player, and we're also setting up a set-top box, which is all kind of linked to the Nexus itself. But a lot of cool new technology coming out of the guys at Google. Dark times at RIM, though, I'm afraid. The flip side, not as successful as Google, but RIM are struggling. Q1 they saw a 41% drop in sales. Q2 is expected to be equally as grim, or maybe a little bit worse. So you could say in the first 2 quarters of this year, they could well have lost about 80% of their sales. And they're about to lay off 5,000 people. I guess it comes to the thing of move with the times, constantly evolve. A couple of years ago, they had a board meeting and someone said, hey, should we do a colour screen? And they went, no, who wants to check their emails via a colour screen? And then, of course, iPhone came out and they haven't changed their ways, but there you go. iProspect. I've looked at Facebook engagement in the UK. And here's a top brand, Rolex, actually the top brand in the UK for engagement. And how it works is people talking about you, which is one of the Facebook metrics, divided by the number of likes equals engagement percentage. So I guess you can all go in there and see how your brands are doing. But I guess the research shows that to get an engaged fan base, you need to adopt an always-on approach. There's an audience there, so with everything, make sure there is a social, conversational element to everything you do. Speak to yourself, right? But when you put a brief in to creatives, say, hey, we also want a social element, a conversational element. And if you keep doing that, then of course you will drive consistent engagement on your page. Facebook has proven good for retail, particularly for Zappos, which is an American on-site retailer, I guess kind of like Amazon. But they've found for every $1 they spend on Facebook, for paid for ads, they make $3.50 back. Interestingly enough, though, I mean, most people say Facebook, yeah, great, if the people who already like you, you can engage with them, but they've also found success when looking for new customers. The key to success that they've found is constant testing. Again, it goes hand in hand with an always-on approach, but constantly test things. You never know what might work. I need to try and link Facebook fans to real customer data. So if you've got CRM programs, try and link a Facebook profile to each of your CRM customers. Makes sense, right? But Zappos, that's what they've tried to do, link a Facebook profile to each of their customers. Makes sense, right? Greater understanding of your customers mean more success for you. And they've also been using tools like Optimal Keyword, which allows you to look for fans pages with overlapping Facebook users. Of course, you don't want to overdo this, but certainly if you look at your fans, look at the pages they're with, then you can start to build up a profile of what similar pages your fans are likely to go to and spend time with, and then of course you can target accordingly. Makes sense? A Twitter-powered, you wait for it. I guess kind of a nice idea, particularly for a product launch, to get people to spread the word about your brand. You know, if they've got a lot of followers, and of course that is spreading on your message to many people. And then you give them a free drink. They like that drink, they tell some more people about that drink. But a nice idea, and part of a bigger marketing plan, of course, but nice to have a social element. Here's another one. Now you can see where this is going, but again, they're obviously it's for a product launch. They're going to have a massive media campaign behind it using standard and traditional channels, standard ads. But they created this element, a bit of fun. That of course allowed them to create a video of some content, and it's been watched hundreds of thousands of times now. But it's a way of them being able to spread the word socially, creating something that's conversational. Take 5 to 10% of your overall budget and come up with a conversational, social idea that can link to your overall campaign and allow people to spread the message for you. Spark conversation. Get people talking. As we know, peer-to-peer recommendation drives more cash registers than advertising will, but this is a way of spreading the word. Nice idea. Next thing I'm going to touch on is looking at Cannes, because of course Cannes was off. I'm just going to try and cover off the Grand Prix winners for you, so stick around. Radio Grand Prix, very nice idea. Talent, São Paulo, for their client Go Outside magazine. This delightfully devious campaign turned local FM radio broadcasts into mosquito repellent. Yes, indeed, between the hours of 6 and 8, when mosquitoes are rife, inaudible to humans, the sound scares off mosquitoes by resembling a dragonfly buzz. Kinda cool, but gets more people going outside, but this was played in bars and cafes. A lovely idea, great use of radio, taking it outside of just a traditional ad. Creative Effectiveness Grand Prix, that went to BBH London for Axe or Lynx, depending on which country you're in. But after a round of product flops, the men's personal care brand hit the mark with its body spray deodorant Axe Excite. The ad was for Angels Will Fall, and the series lifted sales with its calamitous yet crazy sexy heavenly girlfriend campaign. You may well have all seen this, but here is the ad for those who have not.
Excite. Even angels will fall.
Next thing, the PR Grand Prix. I shall let the video do the talking, but JWT in Puerto Rico won this for Banco Popular. With half the local population on welfare, JWT hired legendary salsa band El Gran Combo to re-record its hit celebrating laziness. Their original song was I Do Nothing, but they recast this to a tribute to hard work, and even got to #1 in the charts.
Living off welfare has become a common way of life. So common that it is celebrated in the greatest salsa hit of all time, No Hago Nada, which translates to I Do Nothing. This classic belongs to El Gran Combo de Puerto Rico, the most famous salsa band in the world. Their fame is such that the New York Times placed them in the same league as the Rolling Stones as influencers and ambassadors of culture. As the largest bank in Puerto Rico, Banco Popular's success depends on the island's economy. So to help propel it in the right direction, it convinced El Gran Combo to rewrite history. On August 15th, Puerto Rico's news waves buzzed with the announcement that El Gran Combo had an important message for the island. It was simultaneously unveiled on every TV and radio station in the country. El Gran Combo delivered an inspirational address before releasing a rewritten and re-recorded version of their old hit song with new lyrics. This time with a completely different message. The entire country was caught off guard. No one expected that the legendary group would ever reinvent such a classic. The new song was the talk of every media outlet in the country. Community leaders, politicians, the Secretary of Labor, and even the governor commended El Gran Combo's example and what it meant for the country. The next day, Banco Popular revealed it was behind the effort by launching a multimedia campaign asking consumers to help make the new track the country's most popular song. The song made it all the way up to the top of the charts. Its overnight success moved Banco Popular to organize and sponsor a free concert featuring El Gran Combo for more than 60,000 spectators. It also sparked a debate that grew into a movement of Puerto Ricans committed to the progress of the island.
Cool. Next up, the Media Grand Prix. This was won by OMD in London for Google. This endearingly quirky London billboard campaign for a Google voice search, produced with creative agency BBH featured more than 150 site-specific ads with phonetic spellings of nearby landmarks ranging from Piccadilly Circus to Leicester Square. Here we go.
Google asked us to promote their voice search offering in London. The challenge didn't just lie in raising awareness, but in doing something that invited people to change their behaviour. This being Google, we also needed a campaign that was highly innovative and in keeping with its position as a pioneering brand. So, we stuck it on posters, which admittedly does seem slightly unimaginative for such a progressive digital brand, but please bear with us. Google couldn't be more ubiquitous and everyday, but to many it still felt a little cold and distant. We needed to inject some relevance, ideally with some wit and warmth. So, the clever bit. We took a key strength of digital, hyper-relevant context and married it with the scale and ubiquity of an outdoor campaign. Using Google Maps, we zoomed in on each and every available London poster site and identified the most interesting landmarks immediately around it. Once we created a database of every available site and the surrounding context, this then became the creative brief for what should appear on each poster site. As such, the precise media context completely drove the creative execution. For example, a site at Baker Street carried the copy, Sherlock Holmes. A site by Chelsea Football Club carried the copy, Latest Scores. Sites in concert-heavy Camden carried, Live Gig Tickets. It made for over 150 different creative executions across 10 different outdoor formats, giving each and every poster a direct relevance to its immediate surrounding context. This is by far the largest number of executions in a London campaign ever. The results proved the attention to detail paid off. Campaign recognition was over 3 times the outdoor average, and it was talked about. More than a quarter of people surveyed said they remembered speaking to someone about the campaign. But most importantly, people changed their behaviour as a result. Google searches for voice search in London more than doubled versus the rest of the country, the biggest proportion coming from smartphones. Google Voice Search Outdoor Campaign, using the world's oldest medium like the newest.
A cool campaign and a good example of media taking a lead. So well done to them. Design Grand Prix. This is very nice. So this was for Austria Solar. And this solar company, obviously, for its annual report, it's obviously itself a solar company. They wanted to make the annual report solar powered. So text and graphics, or certain text and graphics, could only be seen in the sunlight, which is very cool. But, you know, very standard, but a good way of making something that traditionally could be quite dull and boring for most people into something that's a little bit more engaging. Next, Cyber Grand Prix. I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, but this is for, well, Sweden Tourism. Of course, they gave over their Twitter account to everyday Swedes so that they could post reasons why people should come to Switzerland. Some of them, of course, are very weird. Some are very entertaining. Some were just downright bizarre, but a very good idea, and it really drove significant engagement, especially in the Twitter sphere. But that was a Cyber Grand Prix. The Mobile Grand Prix, again, another one for Google. Grow Interactive, you may remember I spoke about the Refresh campaign that they were doing, where they took 3 iconic TV ads and brought them into the digital age. And this one was for I'd Like to Buy the World a Coke, which was a 1970s ad. That was famous, and they brought it into the digital age, where basically you could send a free Coke across the world. And here we go.
In Project Rebrief, we've reimagined Coca-Cola's classic Hilltop commercial for a modern audience in the digital age. In the spirit of the original ad, it allows users to connect with strangers by sending a Coke around the globe to an unsuspecting recipient, making the world feel just a little bit smaller. The ad can be experienced on mobile phone apps in Google's AdMob network across iOS and Android devices. Made possible through AdMob-rich media ads, coupled with custom-designed vending machines, viewers can truly buy the world of Coke with a few taps on their mobile phones. A viewer can decide where to send a Coke by selecting one of many machines located around the world, from New York City to Cape Town to Buenos Aires. They can then add a custom text message to personalize their Coke delivery. Google Translate converts these messages on the fly, breaking down the language barrier across countries. A dynamic video with Google Maps, Street View, and composite motion graphics shows the Coke's journey from the viewer's current location to the vending machine across the globe. Users can then wait for confirmation of their Coke's delivery or enter an email address to be notified later. Once the Coke is delivered, recipients are not only treated to the generosity of a stranger thousands of miles away, but they can also say thanks by sending a message of their own back to the user. That message is then delivered to the user's inbox, where they can read the note and view a video clip of the recipient's surprised reaction upon getting a free Coke. A gallery showcases some of our favorite shareable exchanges between people around the world connecting over a can of Coke.
Thank you, that's the best Coke I've ever had.
Today's technology allows us to make good on a promise Coca-Cola made over 40 years ago, and lets users buy the world of Coke from the palm of their hand.
Very cool. And the outdoor Grand Prix, there was a couple of them. The first one was for Coca-Cola. Jonathan Mac Long, who actually came to, he had a Steve Jobs ad last year. It went viral. And this was basically taking the Coca-Cola logo. And again, it kind of ties into the last campaign which I just showed you. But very nice, talking about sharing a Coke, one person giving another Coke, enjoying a Coke together, and Coca-Cola happiness. But a nice take on the traditional Coca-Cola logo. And that one Grand Prix. There was also the Mercedes-Benz work that I showed a few weeks ago to demonstrate the invisible, well, it's called Invisible Drive, but to demonstrate the zero-emission fuel technology of Mercedes-Benz, where they made the car disappear using television screens because they would show what was behind the car. You can see that video online, so if you go onto YouTube, pop that in, you'll be able to see that if you haven't seen it already. The Press Grand Prix was done by 72 and Sunny, and this is for Benetton. Really nice. It was kind of a provocative unhate campaign, showed world leaders kissing their lips, those who were probably not fans of one another. So Barack Obama and Hugo Chavez is the one I'm going to show you here, but of course Angela Merkel and Nicolas Sarkozy. But it was this sort of thing. But again, a lovely execution. So there was 3 of them it ran. Film Craft Grand Prix. This is was won by Canal Plus. Starring a bear, who's a Hollywood hotshot director. But I will let you see the ad. It's beautifully shot.
Okay, that was great, guys. Really great. The fire should be higher. You were amazing. Let's do another.
D'où vient ma passion pour le cinéma?
Like an explosion.
Je crois que j'ai toujours aimé le cinéma. Le travail avec les acteurs,
I know.
And after,
les effets spéciaux.
you can add some explosion.
Yeah. More explosions. That's always good.
He's an amazing director, very sensitive.
I don't give a shit! Come on!
La mise en scène.
A wide shot like that. Castle burning. We like that. Everybody screaming. Lot of blood. Boom! Explosion.
Le scénario.
Well, sorry, we're ready for
Yeah, come on.
La musique. En fait, j'aime tout dans le cinéma. Vous savez, j'ai vu tellement de grands films depuis tant d'années qu'un jour je me suis dit, pourquoi pas moi?
A lovely ad. Promo Activations Grand Prix.
In 2010, American Express created Small Business Saturday, a new shopping day right after Black Friday to help small businesses get what they needed most, more customers. But for 2011, the goal was clear. Make Small Business Saturday more than just a one-off event and cement its place as an official shopping day during the holiday season. American Express couldn't do that single-handedly, so they rallied business owners, consumers, and public officials to help. First, they gave small business owners a toolkit to carry the day. American Express armed them with everything they'd need, from a Shop Small badge, to posters, to social marketing tools. This digital kit featured a YouTube video maker for businesses to make their own ads, a Facebook page builder, and a way to launch online deals through Foursquare. Over 500,000 owners took advantage. Next, American Express reached out to get public officials on board. Communities and states from coast to coast declared their support. Even the Senate stepped up and passed a resolution declaring Small Business Saturday an official day, unanimously. Finally, American Express rallied millions of shoppers to join the movement by finding local businesses and pledging to make one small purchase.
I pledge to shop small at Big Top Candy Shop.
Alan's Boots.
At Juno Baby Store.
Make the pledge to shop small.
Please.
Shop small on Small Business Saturday.
So how big was it?
20% increase. Our sales were up about 30%.
166% increase from last year.
In the end, it became a top 10 trending topic on Twitter. The second annual Small Business Saturday reached 2.7 million likes on Facebook, more than double the first year. Most importantly, 103 million Americans shopped small, from California to Washington, D.C.
This is Small Business Saturday, so we're out here supporting small businesses.
In just over a year, Small Business Saturday went from a day that didn't exist to a permanent fixture on the holiday shopping calendar. See you next year.
Truly phenomenal campaign, that one. All started from one idea, but completely committed, fully integrated, and giving small businesses all the help and support they need. Really wonderful, actually. Fantastic campaign. The Film Grand Prix, Branded Content, and Entertainment Grand Prix did very well, this one. Chipotle. So this was the one that was... it's a really beautiful campaign, but of course they took it more than just, of course, a TV ad. But I'll play you the TV ad, but a really beautiful campaign that has obviously used Willie Nelson singing the Coldplay song. But here's a TV ad.
Just guessing at numbers and figures, pulling the puzzles apart. Questions of science, science and progress don't speak as loud as my heart. Nobody said it was easy. It's such a shame for us to part. Nobody said it was easy. No one ever said it would be so hard. I'm going back to the start.
We've taken a Lorax story, I suppose. But a beautiful ad. And this was a big winner. I spoke about this actually last week. But this was a big winner. So RGA for Nike. It kind of changed the way, particularly in America and in the UK where most people are using this. It kind of changed the way that people are keeping fit and keeping active. And it's a perfect example, like I said last week, of where the product is the campaign and the campaign is the product. But it all, it has a social element running right through it. They use all of their stars to help promote it. But it started with this ad. So from humble beginnings, it grew into a massive big thing. But in a way, it's, I guess, taking the fact of gamification and the fact that people are rewarded and they've got leaderboards and they've got to constantly strive that everything they do is goes towards fuel points. So the more active they are, the more fuel points they get. Fuel linked through social media. They use the weight of all of their stars. And for anyone who's still confused as to what the product is, here's a bit about the product.
The Nike Plus Fuel Band, designed for anyone who wants to be more active. It measures your daily activity, every move you make, and turns it into Nike Fuel. It keeps track on your wrist and in your hand, so you can set a goal for every day and then go out and beat it. Because the key to doing more is knowing more. Life's a sport. Make it count.
Yep. Get out and get active, people, and continue to make good work. And that's it from me for this week. Shall see you next week.